Welcome to the first episode of the John Pace series on the Build It Better podcast. John is the co-founder and CEO of Versatex Trim Board here in Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. In order to be the best, you have to learn from the best. That is why Build It Better exists. It is designed to help the next generation of residential professionals connect and communicate with the best in this industry. I'm very excited to get started with this interview, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking the time to share your story.
Oh, thanks for coming up, Zach. I'm really glad you came up yesterday for the Instagram. It was a great time, and hope you picked up some little tidbits and pointers on the whole industry and how we can make it better.
Absolutely, it was a pleasure to come up, and I brought my dad. It was awesome to introduce him to you, and all the different people here, and see the operation you have, see how clean the plant is, and all the different details about how this product gets to our job site. The first kind of question where I want to start is, what was the first time you ever remember doing something entrepreneurial growing up?
Well, let's go way back. When I was younger, I really had a passion for golf, and I used to caddy at 12. And one of my first things was entrepreneurial was selling golf balls.
Wow.
Finding golf balls and golf courses, piling them all up, and then selling them off to guys when I caddied for them at Shepherd Hills Country Club in my hometown of Sarah, Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. So that would really be, if you want to go way back. After that is when I got a taste of entrepreneurial business through NAPCO Building Products. NAPCO is a building products company located north of here. It was a family-owned business. They were looking for a VP of Ops. I got into it, and the owner of the company, John Wolf Sr., pretty much gave me free rein to grow the business, to develop the business, and take it to another level. During my time there, I built 2 manufacturing facilities for him. I upgraded another one, so I had this real entrepreneurial spirit because he let me loose to do what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And we took a business from 25 million to about 100 million in about 9 years.
Wow. Yeah, that's some pretty amazing stuff. I would say that's entrepreneurial, to say the least.
It was a good time. I love what I was doing.
Yeah, so, if we could kind of go back to the first time you ever remember money being made in this industry, what was your first experience of this industry, whether that was from a remodeling standpoint, from a manufacturing standpoint? Where did you start inside of residential construction?
Well, my dad, he worked for the railroad during the week, but on weekends he did remodeling work. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of brothers, I had a big family. We lived in a duplex, and we'd go out and do some side work. And as we got older, we'd help them when we were younger, but as we got older, we got a chance to actually get involved in it. Mm-hmm. Pound the nails, put up the studs, the whole bit, drywall, everything. So I got a chance to do that, and we get a little bit of pay from that. So that was the one thing I really liked inside the industry, and I liked working with my hands. I always enjoy, because you see something being created when you're done, and that's what I really enjoy. Cool. It's and it's going to be there for a while. Some things are there forever. This building here, it's a metal. It could be here for 30, 40 years, hopefully even more than that, well before after I'm gone. But I see other things I've created over my career. I worked for Anheuser-Busch, I've worked for Miller Brewery, I've worked for Oscar Mayer, building buildings for them that still exist today. Mm-hmm. So it's really seeing something that's a legacy. It's going to be there well after you're gone, but it's a piece of you.
So that sounds like, from what I can tell, is your favorite part that you saw in the industry at that age. Is there anything that you saw at that age in the industry that you didn't like, or you said, hey, maybe I could fix that even at that young, or was that a little bit later on in your career?
I think training was probably the one thing I saw. You're kind of thrown into things. Mm-hmm. You're never given a chance to, where there's always, you can rely on a mentor to help you through and help you develop. Now, if you have a family member, a father, yes, you can rely on that. But those who get into the industry, and if you don't have a father to do that, you're relying on, this person's pretty busy that you're with. If you're working with them, they don't have the time to spend with you. Guys in the job sometimes, if you're young, they kind of like push you aside. And I was always young in most every position I was in. Mm-hmm. It was like, what's this young kid doing in our industry? And let him learn on his own. Crap on him. We got our own thing to do here. So it was. It's to me, it's really a challenge. Is to learn and to grow, because as young people, you're just thirsty for knowledge. You want to learn everything you can.
Of course.
But they weren't giving it. You looked for it, you asked for it, but it wasn't coming back to you. And I think that's one way, that's one reason I'm on Instagram, is to try to help educate, train, and help the industry grow, and do anything I can to help young people realize this is a great industry to be in. And it really needs people, young people, to get into it. Go to trade schools. It's not about college all the time. And if you like it and you love it, then you need to get into it, because they can really use you.
Yeah, absolutely. So even then, you know, it was the same kind of thing revolved around that training, was kind of that, you know, that flaw that you saw in this industry, which is very interesting to see. You know, I'm obviously just scratching the surface, really getting started, and trying to get as many young people involved as possible. So it's you know, they need to be looking for that help, is basically what you're saying, and then somebody also needs to be willing to help, which is, I think, the hard part sometimes.
Yeah, that's the balance.
Yeah,
definitely.
You got to meet in the middle. I mean, it's like any relationship, right?
That's right, definitely.
So, that being said, you know, you talked about a little bit, you know, a couple of the different jobs you had inside of the industry. You know, when you look back, is there any job that you had specifically in this industry that you feel has helped you the most to get where you are?
Yeah, my job at NAPCO Building Products. That was really my first taste of residential. Prior to that, I had been in heavy construction and all industrial and high commercial buildings. So everything was a wholly different marketplace.
Right.
So once I went to NAPCO, I got a taste of residential building products that I had seen when I was a young kid working with my dad. So we made aluminum building products, we made trim coil, we made aluminum siding, we had vinyl siding. And I really liked that market. I got to get out there and I got to spend time with contractors and builders, which if I wasn't doing something in manufacturing, I would probably be building houses today or remodeling. Probably more remodeling, because I think building houses is a little tougher. I think remodeling is a little more recession proof, but that would have been my career path. So NAPCO gave me the first chance to get involved in the residential building products. And not just manufacture it, but spend a lot of time with the guys in the field and understanding their challenges, the products they needed to try to create something new and different. And that's always been my goal in this thing, is what can we do to make their job easier, but also give them something that is new and innovative that's not been in the marketplace before.
Right. Which is very, very difficult sometimes, depending on the product.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's a lot that goes into that, and you guys definitely have figured that out. So, you know, where I always like to go, I always get a interesting answer back from this one. But what was, you know, whether it was something when you were very young or somewhere in between, what was one job that you had outside of the industry that you feel like has helped you?
Oh, the best job I had was when I was staff engineer at a company called Pittsburgh Corning Corporation. And my job was to troubleshoot. First of all, I got my first design opportunity. I got to design what was called a low temperature panel for coolers, freezers, and processing plants that needed to be able to control the temperatures within them. So you're talking meat processing plants, breweries, and you know, frigid places like that that have like Mrs. Paul's Fish and Chips, Ponderosa Steaks, all those places that need refrigeration, Welch's Grape. So my job was first to design this panel and be involved in it and create it. So it was my first creative opportunity. And then second was to troubleshoot at all these places around the United States and then actually in Canada, troubleshoot problems. So I'll give you a good example. We had a Labatt's Brewery in Toronto was hit by a tornado. And it was one of their aging cellars, so it had to be refrigerated and cooled to about 30-some degrees Fahrenheit. Well, when it hit by a tornado, half part of the wall came off. I had to fly up there and I had to inspect it, and then do this quick, and come up with a solution of how we could enclose it so without losing any beer, and at the same time then repair it. So they got me someone like a typist to type all the specifications. I flew up there over a weekend. I sat down. We looked at the project, came up with a solution, and solved it. So that was my most favorite time, because I didn't like the traveling aspect of it because I was away from the family, but what I liked is the interaction. And talk about being an entrepreneur. You're there trying to fix something for some of the largest companies in the United States, Miller Brewery, Anheuser-Busch, Oscar Mayer. They have a problem, they have issues, and how can we fix their problem, or how we can give them a better solution to the refrigeration.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, especially from a design standpoint, it all kind of comes back to you. You're the guy that designed it, so you're the one that needs to fix it, and that's a lot of responsibility. What age was that?
I did it. I was only 27 years old. No, actually 26 years old.
Wow. That's very
I did
impressive.
26 years.
Yeah, that is very, very.
So it was a lot of fun. It was a good time. And then after that, my next job after that was with a company called E.G. Smith. And I started out as a project engineer. So again, I was back in the field, building, constructing, but all commercial, industrial plants and projects. And then from there, I got my first taste of manufacturing. Because it was there, I ended up in manufacturing. They wanted someone from the field in manufacturing that could take who understood manufacturing and make sure, or understood the field aspect of it, and take the manufacturing side and try to make sure it was structured to feed the product to the field in the right sequence to maximize the use of the labor in the field. So it really got me a chance to say, okay, how can I use my talents from the field to help manufacturing and deliver the product to the field in the right sequence so we can put the stuff up correctly, finish the building on time, and at the same time be profitable for the company.
Yeah, and you respected and appreciated that entire process and kind of reverse engineered that at that point. And I think that that's something that a lot of people, especially in this industry, might not understand all of the different pieces. It's so important to know what your electrician has to do, your plumber, all these different pieces. That's your job too, to understand all of that. I think that's something that's overlooked, especially from young people.
Yeah.
So you talk about all these different brands, some very large companies. What is the largest project or company that you've worked with at this point that, looking back, you really enjoyed?
I'd say it would be Miller Brewery. We did all of Miller Brewery's refrigeration systems. So I did one in Irwindale, California. I did another one in New York State, and I did another one in North Carolina. And I was responsible to oversee all these projects from the standpoint, from the design, the initial design, until they were totally completed and up and running.
Wow.
So I spent a lot of time with Miller on that back in, that would be the late 70s. The other project I could put in the same category is the largest earthen dam east of Mississippi. I was an engineer on.
Wow.
And interestingly, it's only located less than half an hour from where we're sitting right now.
That's
so I got
really
my
cool.
career started in this county, Beaver County, and after, we'll say, it's been 30 some years, I come right back to where I started. And it's kind of interesting, so full circle.
Yeah, that's the way life works. It seems like sometimes.
Yeah.
One tip, I just want to end this chapter with one tip for an 18 to 25-year-old person getting into the industry. Where do you think they should start?
Wow, that's a tough one. First of all, they need to understand, do they really have a passion and do they like the industry? Why are they getting in the industry? What's the reason? Is it to make money? Is it to start their own business? Is it because I really don't want to work at the local McDonald's? What is it? And if it's really because they love the industry and they want to get into it, start from the ground floor. But most importantly, if you start at the ground floor, get a mentor. Get someone who's going to help you along, that you can rely on, who's been there a while, that you can talk to and sit with and can teach and train and educate you. At the same time, you can just talk to on a one-on-one basis, almost like he's a fatherly figure.
Right.
In my career, I've had two mentors. I had one at Pittsburgh Corning Corporation and one at E.G. Smith, and both these guys were phenomenal. Older gentlemen, kind of gruffy kind of guys that you didn't think you could ever break through to them, that they would ever help you.
Yeah.
But they got to, I liked them, they eventually got to like me, and I learned more from them. And they were just, and one guy was an engineer at Pittsburgh Corning, the other guy ran the tool room at E.G. Smith, but he had been on some of the largest projects E.G. Smith ever did in Vegas, some of the large casino projects out there that he worked on. And he was in that part of his career, he was just winding down, but his knowledge in his head was phenomenal. So you got to start from the bottom, and you got to realize that's it. But the growth path is great. Just be patient and move forward. I know the current generation has a lot of problem with patience. I've seen kids here that work at Versatech. They want to move up quickly. They want to be at the top rung as fast as they can.
They're entitled. A lot of people are entitled.
So we get them there because we're growing so fast. So it's easier for us to get there. But sometimes it takes a little time to get there. So be patient. Find a mentor, start from the bottom, learn everything you can about the business, from soup to nuts, right from the start, as easy as pounding a nail, putting up 2x4s, and then just build from there, and get into the planning stage and design and ordering materials, and you're going to get into the finance side, but there's so much to learn. But by the time you're done, you can run your own business.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I'm between 18 and 25, and what I take from that is every step of the way, ask why.
Oh, definitely.
And find out why.
Yeah.
and then sprinkle some patience all over everything, and maybe you'll start to grow a little bit. I think that, there's a lot of people that will look for the how and the what, and maybe not drive to that why. And I think if our generation starts to ask why about every little piece of this industry, it'll start to really help it grow as a whole. So I think that's a great answer, because the patience part of it is something that this generation kind of gets this name and this title. We did it to ourselves. It's our fault, but at the same time, it's how do we continue to grow and move forward and come into this industry with a different perspective, but also not change too much.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of the equal balance, with the Instagrams and the things like that we're really looking for. So I think that's a great question, and I think for any of you guys out there between 18 and 25, just ask why.
Here's another one. Listen. When my son started business here, he comes out of college, they think they know everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I went to college, I know this. Well, guess what? You really don't. Listen to what people have to say. Don't always be the one that has to answer the question or have to speak first. Hear what they have to say. Listen when you're on the floor of what guys have learned in terms of how they run these machines here, or little tidbits they've picked up in terms of how they've been able to produce a better product. And that'll build a knowledge base for you. So whether you're on the job site and you hear a couple guys talking about something they're doing, they're troubleshooting something, rather than just, I'm just going to go do my own thing.
Right.
Listen to what they're talking about, because you're going to pick up tidbits. I learn every single day. I mean, I'm 64 years old, but every day I'm learning because I listen. And whether it's on Instagram, or whether it's other social media platforms, whether it's the guys on the plant floor, whether it's people in the office. And I always challenge people. I will say something, I will respond to I'll ask them a question, and I'll say, well, this is how I'm thinking about it. Now, if I'm full of crap, tell me I'm full of crap, because then I can get a chance to listen to what they have to say.
Right.
So I want their input.
Absolutely. No, I think that's a great place to leave that chapter.
Right.
Listen more than you talk. It's something that I had to learn getting into this industry, and I still work on it every single day, because for whatever reason, the internet has made people think that they know a lot more. There's the ability, there's a tool, there's Google, there's all these different things, but it's it all comes back to that in the end, and it's all tried and true. I feel like that's the way it's been in business forever. So,
and as you get older, people think, well, he doesn't know what's going on in social media, he doesn't know what technology today. And until they get to interact with me, like, he's just an old dude that probably still uses a notebook and everything else and doesn't know what an iPad is or Instagram is. So it's kind of interesting, because I try to keep up. I guarantee I'm no whiz at technology, but I try to keep up with as much as possible, because I know that next generation, I'm hoping that I can help them along, be it here or when I'm in the field.
that's really cool. We're going to wrap up chapter 1 there, and the next chapter we're going to get into is what is the Versatex way?